My thought is Vitality need to come out swinging straight away because Endpoint are a team that like to come out swinging and then they knacker themselves out. So I think Vitality, go big to start, see what you can do against Endpoint.
All right, well, let's see what does actually happen here. I'm going to let you guys have fun, get into the action.
Oh, wow. We are close. These new seats are dangerous. Oh, yeah. Virtuoso's demoing us. Wow. It's the real Rocket League Pro experience. I mean, Virtuoso charging at you at full pace. And Endpoint set up the reverse sweep.
That was like, you know those like videos of people on... in like the 1920s, filmed for the first time, and it's like a train comes towards the camera, but it was just like filmed in a mirror or whatever.
And they're
that
petrified.
felt like that. Yeah, they're all scared. That's what I felt like, but that was like a 3D experience. And Endpoint, mate, like you said, they get the first goal.
Yeah, blow the whistle, ref. Get this game over and done with. So then Endpoint can have that first one chalked off because we are, of course, going reverse sweep hunting after the Dignitas Galaxy Racer experience earlier on. But it is a nice first goal for Endpoint. Sets the tone off nicely for them. They're closing it down as well. But Vitality are always so good at their goal line defense. So difficult to score against.
I think everyone on Endpoint using the Endpoint decal, the brand new one,
Good.
that is able to. Unless Wave is... Oh, no, Wave isn't again. Wave, come on. You've got one of the coolest decals. Look, Virtuoso showing you how it's done, mate.
Yeah, scoring 2 goals with that awesome decal as well. Relating Wave, it slows down slightly, and then he gets a nice 50-50 on Alpha 2, so actually really nice play there from Relating Wave. And Virtuoso just dodges it home, simple as you like, stroke it into the back of the net. It's such a good decal though, isn't it? The Endpoint one is beautiful.
It's so pretty. Vitality's one is also lovely. K-Dop is normally a big fan of using it, but instead is using that Supersonic Legend reward, which is fair enough. That's also absolutely beautiful. But no, this is Endpoint coming out strong straight away. Normally they like to come out swinging, and sometimes it's a swing and a miss. This time it seems like pretty much all their punches are connecting.
Well, they weren't swinging yesterday. They were absolutely atrocious for the first couple of games against top blokes. They really were. I mean, even Yumi and CJ, would you believe,
I wasn't casting it, neither were you.
were mocking them, which is very unlike them. Normally they're so kind to the teams that they commentate over. That's how poorly Endpoint were playing. But once they got going, they remembered that they could have a midfield presence. Virtuoso makes a save. Endpoint looked really good. They were Regional 3 finalists against Vitality level of themselves. And it's the first time in a while that we've seen them, because they won no series in Winter Regional 2. They won one series in Winter Regional 1. They've lost grids. This is not a team that is currently very confident, Endpoint. And while this is monetarily a smaller event than the RLCS, it could be a really good opportunity for them to find some confidence again.
I'm just counting out the results now that we have seen them have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've lost 9 out of the 10 last matches that Endpoint have played Vitality. And the only one that they won was in full Grid 1 in groups, and that went to all 5 in the best of 5. Fairy Peak wanting that trend to continue. Currently on a 7 losing streak versus Vitality, but you have to remember, Endpoint yesterday, they did take down top blokes. They managed to do it, so they are doing well so far in Beyond the Summit.
Yeah, that was the good news from that series, that they won 4 on the trot. And suddenly they did look really good after losing those first 2 games. But I loved that pass there from K-Dop, who then followed home and bumped Relating Wave out the goal as well, the second part of the infield pass. Really important aspect to it, and that is a strange goal for Endpoint.
That ball went at about 3 miles an hour for 2 minutes. It was just that little tap, another little tap, and then it's in.
Yeah, well, take it. Happy days.
Yeah, fair enough. Metza moved in nicely.
Puts Endpoint back to their 2-goal lead just after half-time in this first game. They're looking all right, aren't they? They're looking confident. They are not feeling sluggish, Endpoint, but more free goals against them will start to shake them a little bit more.
All 2s and 3s up at the top as Fairy Peak off the kickoff manages to beat out Vert, pinches it from that right wall as well, and that's sort of a new take on the 2015 goal, where 2 players would just pinch it on kickoff, it would bounce off a wall. No one wants to defend on a kickoff, and no one can get back in time to defend off a kickoff, and so it just ends up going in.
The difference is in 2015, the ball would bounce off the far corner, bounce back, hit the mid wall, then eventually roll into the goal. And in the replay, all you'd see is cars flying around all over the place and bumping each other and just missing. So it was a little bit less ugly, a little bit less, no, that's harsh, a little bit less beautiful than those early 2015 goals. But it certainly was a freebie as far as Renault Vitality are concerned. And Endpoint needs to be wary of that because Vitality are going to earn their own goals. They don't need to be chucking some free ones at Fairy Peak and the gang to make it even easier for them.
Is that how you see Vitality out of interest, as Fairy Peak and the gang? Genuine question. Because K-Dom has started to look better. I was impressed with him yesterday in the end versus Guild. They did manage to step up and Guild had a bit of a downtrend. But do you see Vitality as Fairy Peak et al?
No.
Flip reset.
I don't see it as Fairy Peak et al. I think if he tried to play that way, if he tried to play in a more alpha way and was ultra aggressive and tried to be the big man, then he could. But he chooses not to because he is a perfect teammate. Hang about, here he is, scoring his hat-trick as well to show what a good teammate he is. I think if any player is their star man, it has to be Alpha for Renault Vitality at the moment. Sometimes can be a little bit too greedy, but not looking like it at the moment as he sets up Fairy Peak for a very nice hat-trick.
I think for me, Fairy Peak is the best player on Vitality. I'm so impressed with him. I'm so consistently impressed with him as well. He managed to get a hat-trick in this game, and that's just... Every now and then he just gets the cherry on the cake. And it's like, yeah, you know what? You're still up there. And he's been an incredible player for so long. It's been great to see him do as well as he has done in multiple scenes as well. But under a minute left, and Vitality have drawn themselves even against an Endpoint that had a very early surge and have just started to let it go a little bit. Alpha gets rid of Virtuoso and then K-Dop, so Fairy Peak has to put in the legwork to clear it down the pitch. Overtime in game one is a potential.
Yeah, looking fairly likely right now, but Endpoint would have to finish it as they started it so well. Relating Wave is going for the redirect there. It is Virtuoso that it falls to. Here we go. What can you do? Endpoint have really struggled to have any consistent time in the Vitality half after their third goal has gone in. It seems like that was the end of their early attacking endeavors, and now they've just got to defend for as long as possible and hope for something to come at the other end, a weird endpointy goal, maybe via a demo or something strange like that. This be it. Virtuoso's up. It's beaten by K-Dop. I think overtime's coming, Stumpy. Vitality favourites?
I think Vitality have the pressure from the last 3 minutes. So I would say yes, but then it ended up being quite middly. But was that just Vitality playing for the overtime? Maybe. Virtuoso, though, wants to start us off. Gets the flip reset with the 100 boost. Ends up falling low. And so he's going to have to work his way back. Not as much of a demoistic presence on the pitch as of late. Lots of teams starting to learn from him. But figuring out the place that he needs to be in an evolving meta in the demos. Double commit in defense, though, as Vert can steal that boost away. Alpha has a chance. And now Vert with the 100 has to take it out.
Even if Virtuoso isn't getting them, he's still making his opponents think and keep an eye on him and have one eye open to the fact that Virtuoso could be demoing them any second. So his playstyle always does have positives. Of course, all the negatives as well, because where's our third man? Oh, he's bumping their goalkeeper, who very much isn't doing anything right now, but GG's. Anyway, Metronora puts onto the backboard and Vitality, two of them. Never afraid to double commit in goal, Vitality, and normally it works out for them. Looks like it did that.
Virtuoso had to stretch to reach that ball, however. Now Wave on the left wing. Nobody there to find the ball, though. So Alpha helps out Endpoint in a way. Like we said, that's one. Can't connect with the second, but Virtuoso is there. And game number one to set up the reverse sweep is Virtuoso.
Virtuoso matches Fairy Peak, getting his own hat-trick. Look, that's actually Fairy Peak that he tackled as well. And Endpoint, despite losing a 3-1 lead, do manage to see it away in overtime. And that's exactly what you feel Endpoint need against Renault Vitality, a first game. It wasn't Endpoint at their purest. They've certainly got more in the tank than that. But they managed to get the goal they needed. It wasn't pretty. It won't be remembered for long, but they all count.
Fairy Peak and Vert, both at the top of their teams, respectively. But good performance by both teams, to be honest. A little bit of a swing sesh. Both of them are chucking haymakers. And a few of them connected, mostly from Virtuoso and Fairy Peak, though. And look, we're back. We're not Pixel Boys anymore. Look at us go. We've nailed it.
Yay.
I was impressed with both teams, to be honest. I don't think much separated them.
No, it was closer than I think Renault Vitality would have liked against Endpoint because they will know. They've won, was it 9 of the last 10 or 10 of the last 11 that you said?
9 of the last 10, and they're currently on a 7 streak.
They're on a 7-win streak. Wow, okay. So that is certainly something that will be on Endpoint's mind.
None of them have even gone to all of the games either. In order, right, this is
Here we
only
go.
the last 10 matches in fairness, but
Okay.
in order, it's been Vitality 3-1, Vitality 4-1, Endpoint 3-2. That one went to
Hey.
all 5. That's the only time that all of the games have been played, because then it was 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-1, 4-2, 4-0, 3-1. It is not a great record for Endpoint, but they want to stop it at 7. 7's fine. 8, that's a joke.
Was that 4-2 the full Regional 3 final?
It was indeed. And it was one of the best 4-2s, wasn't it, Cole?
It was. That was someone in chat pointed that out yesterday. It's perhaps the best 4-2 of
There
all
aren't
time.
many. Oh, look at this camera. Oh, look at us go down the steps. So we're not quite centered, which is frustrating.
Well, it's because you're on the left and I'm on the right. And you've
Oh,
got
that makes
on.
sense. Oh, we're walking hand in hand away. That's it.
Yeah, onto the pitch. Quite dangerous.
Streaking
one
again.
would say. Yeah, when there are 6 cars zipping about the place. But we don't care. We're brave people. And Endpoint are brave too, off the front foot. From the beginning, Virtuoso now an assist to add to his collection.
Look at this backflip pass. Look. Whoop-bumps. And Metza from the landing as well. Oh, that is such a brilliant play.
Good to see Metsunora among the goals as well. When he first joined Endpoint, he was their focal point in attack for many of their better performances, and he slowed down somewhat in that regard since, sort of reverted back to a slightly more defensive thin. So seeing him get involved twice for Endpoint against Vitality, with 2 goals in the first 2 games, is a good sign for them and their team dynamic.
But Endpoint started off very strong last game as well. K-Dog just shooting wide. Don't think he expected that ball to fall as well as it did for him. But yeah, I mean, Vitality had to work their way back into the previous match. Endpoint won it regardless. Hopefully for Vitality, they can turn on a little bit sooner, but that ball falls so well for Wave, and Alpha from the inside of the goal can keep it out.
Brilliant play from Alpha. He could only cover one part of the goal, so he did his best to make himself as big as he possibly could. And thankfully for him, the shot was straight at him, but he had to give himself a chance, and that's what he did. But Empire getting more chances to score here. Fairy Pig, how is the 50-50 game versus Virtuoso? You can see Virtuoso was trying to force the ball along the goal line, but Fairy Pig was too smart for that one. And finally, Renault Vitality can get the ball away. This is a really good start now for Endpoint. They stole the overtime, and now 1-0 up in game 2. You can't ask for much more against Vitality.
Alpha just taking the ball away from K-Dop as well from that backboard. As Vert is left on his own, tries to go for the ceiling pass to himself. A little bit high though, and so goes for the second ceiling pass. Pulls into a good position for relating Wave once again. Couldn't get this one on target, however. So Mets have to cut in close. Wave gets beaten to the ball. Alpha now finds K-Dop, who's going to have to try and stare down Virtuoso as that ball though rolls round the corner. Ver can go for a very messy air dribble, gets ahead of the ball, but still manages to get it past halfway.
I've got apparently Jack there, who got a beautiful air dribble earlier. Convert wrap round. Yes, he can! Virtuoso knew exactly what he was doing with that air dribble. Just put it on a plate for his mate. Tackle Alpha. Oh, via a demo as well. That is so Virtuoso.
Cole, I'm worried that our reverse sweep call is going to be like weirdly accurate, and that scares me a lot.
I'm a little bit scared too, because I adore Endpoint the org, and that would really hurt to see them be reverse swept by Vitality. But the story demands it, Stumpy, okay?
It
They
does
are the
demand it.
org.
That's fair. I mean, Endpoint actually connecting with their swings, which is what I said before, something that they do struggle to do. They'll try and go for a lot in the early game. Sometimes it will pay off, and then sometimes it will absolutely stretch them out too far. So it's actually going very well at the moment. I'm intrigued to see how long that will last for, because Vitality are a learning machine. I've described them before as a French AI, because they just know what the other team attempts, and they know what they need to do to counter that. And K-Dop especially is one of the most intelligent players that Rocket League has ever seen, as is Fairy Pig. And it's going to be... You have to have a lot in the locker to get the ball away from them consistently, and to pull away as well.
What's AI in French?
AI.
Cool. I'll ask you that every time, and one day I will remember. I will learn French one letter at a time, my friend. That is my dream. Vitality, the thing is, they are going to score goals against Team Endpoint. Any second, they're going to score 2 or 3, but they're being outpaced right now. Virtuoso, by the way, is running rings around Renault Vitality. He is a player that can be completely ineffective when his demos aren't working, but when they are working, he is such an asset.
I don't know how Virtuoso beat K-Dot to the ball there. I think they both had boosts. Virtuoso went straight down the middle of the pitch where there were 3 small boost pads ready. So he essentially had infinite boost. He didn't need to let up off his boost button. So ended up doing very well, but K-Dot just didn't have the speed to get there. Alpha with a shot on target, and K-Dot taking over from Fairy Peak. One thing I like, by the way, is that I believe, or it looks like, every now and then we have the ball cam on for the players, and so we know if they flick it off or not. I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah,
I like seeing that.
Really interesting earlier when RG made one of his saves for Galaxy Racer because he didn't even know the player was next to him. Yeah, it is open. 4-0, which is the game result that Endpoint will hope this series finishes when they inevitably go 3 games up. The relating wave now. His first goal of the series. Every Endpoint player has scored in this game. They're dominating Vitality.
Mate, if they go 3-0 up, my heart can't take another reverse sweep. A best of 7 reverse sweep. It's so unlikely. I want a statistician to tell me if we look at every single Rocket League competitive game that's been played, like that we would consider to be in like the best of 7 reverse sweep category, so like ones that make it onto that list. What is the chance of 2 happening at the same time? So it'd be like what, like 12 divided by how many matches we've had? Or something. I'm not a statistician.
Yeah, let's get a statistician on that to divide 12 by 4 or whatever. Vitality.
Oh, why 4?
I don't know, just the first number that came to my mind. And maybe it's the number of goals that Endpoint have scored. Maybe it's the number of games that they're going to be hoping they get when they reach 3. Vitality are... I mean, there's not much we can take from the game at this point. It's over, but they're not looking scary anymore in this game right now. There's an infield pass. That's what they need, maybe. But the finish was a little bit weak. Alpha was going across. He was trying to get a bump or 2, but there were 2 Endpoint players defending, trying to be as stalwart as possible in defense, not give away anything to set up a little bit of confidence and momentum for Renault Vitality. And they are going to see this one away, maybe with a 5th. It was Wave, apparently, that got it, not Mensonoris. 2 of them could have had that.
It was a great pass from Wave in the end. Pinched it with Fairy Peak, and that Metza and Wave both going for it. 5-0 in that second game. That...
I've seen Vitality look uglier than that. They were languid. They were slow in that game, as opposed to being particularly out of shape, I would say. So it's a different worry. But when they got 3-0'd by Team Queso in the most recent Winter Regional in EU, that was really, really ugly. They're not quite at that level yet. It's just that they're a little bit sluggish. And credit to Endpoint, because they are playing max pressure, max speed, and it is working.
I don't even necessarily think... This is Vitality being on... They're somewhat slumped in this game, and that's fine. Teams do that. This is also Endpoint rising to the occasion and doing more than we've seen them do for a little bit. Maybe yesterday was the start of their trend upwards, where the upswing does truly continue, because they looked really good in the end versus Top Blokes. They figured it out, essentially. Vitality need to get a game plan. You can't get 5-0'd in that second game. That's not how this goes. You need to bring more to the table. And one of my main things, Cole, is what you said a little bit about earlier. It's speed. Why are they being so consistently slower than Endpoint to the ball? It was K-Dop who ended up giving Virtuoso a goal in the midfield. Virtuoso could rotate via boost pads, which worked really well. But K-Dop wasn't fast enough to get in the way of it. And it's the positioning. Every single goal in Rocket League, you can track back 5 steps and you can see what the original error was. And I'm very intrigued to see how Vitality work their way around it, because I truly believe that they are one of the cleverest teams in Europe and in Rocket League as a whole. How do they work their way out of this hole?
They chase. They go ultra aggressive. Maybe make 1 or 2 mistakes. Maybe double commit. Just something to shake Endpoint out of this confidence bubble that they found themselves in. Because look, an Alpha being beast on the backboard. It was a great finish from Metsonoris. But where was the pressure?
That touch is also terrible. Alpha gets a touch light into the center, sets up Metza, Doesn't go on the backboard when I believe he had low boost. Instead turns to aerial up and misses. What is that?
That was a little bit ugly. It's what that was, it has to be said. Thankfully, the finish from Metsonoris was the beauty that we needed in that one, but it is yet another early lead here for Team Endpoint. And I know the answer to this question, Stumpy. How do Endpoint make maximum use of the fact that clearly their opponents are shaken here?
They use the Vitality mantra. They're relentless. They keep going. They punish. They hit hard. They challenge. They make it so that the worst thing that Endpoint can do is give Vitality space. Because as soon as you do, you let Vitality in. It means that Alpha suddenly gets a flip reset and he remembers he can do flip resets. It gives them confidence. You do not want to play a confident Vitality. Keep beating them down. Make them downtrodden. Embarrass them at every opportunity. Close down every situation. Even if it's not necessarily your ball to go for because you could get it better in 2 seconds' time. No, go for it. Absolutely smash it. And Wave is following that mantra.
The finish was from Relating Wave, but keep an eye on Virtuoso. He is winning everything. He hasn't got too many bumps in it. You can see him turning in there just to warn Fairy Peak and I think it was K-Dop in goal that he was going to be able to drag into them if he needed to. But for the most part, it is pure pace of Virtuoso. His ball chase meta is completely effective. It's not smart play. He is just being as speedy as he possibly can
be. To do as well.
Yeah,
Get in the way, shut everything down.
And it's just working so well. Vitality don't know how to answer it. They've got an opponent in their face. And in the past, they're able to pass around teams like this. Even if it meant holding out for 4.5 minutes and then scoring on the counter, they were able to do it. But right now, the defense is not holding out.
I'll tell you what, we also are seeing come out of Endpoint. Not every hit they're doing when they have a chance to shoot is going into a shooting position. Like earlier on, Wave just hit against the wall and just kept control. Because the most frustrating thing that you can have, and I'm sure everybody listening right now, in ranked, when you feel like you're fully out of the rotation, you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing right now, is if you're getting shut down everywhere, it just disheartens you. This, though, will be a confidence booster. Great doink up for Fairy Peak. The doink self-assist. You rarely see it going to the ceiling and back down to the same player, but he does it.
The doink self-assist off the ceiling, yeah, that is a new one there from Fairy Peak, who remains as the only Vitality player to have scored a goal in this series. Getting all 4 of Vitalities in this, the 3rd game. Related most when the Alpha's beaten Endpoint's attack, to the ball, which is a relatively big moment because there are very few clean Vitality wins. But then Virtuoso, he's winning the 50-50s as well.
Oh,
the backboard with confidence. There's a pass there. The pass is fouled. Oh, Relating Wave.
Clever, to be fair.
It's safety first there from Relating Wave at 2-1 up. Great decision from him. It must have been tempting to attack that, but it will remain at 2-1 Endpoint. It's a pass.
It's one of those hard positions where you're thinking, I want to really annoy Vitality, but if we let this goal go up, then maybe that actually brings them back in. So very clever from Wave to keep that away. But that's now just open in the midfield, but just comes in sideways. Really?
It's what? Oh, wow.
Oh. Okay. Are we going to see Monster Fairy Peak?
I think we are. I think Fairy Peak has had enough of this. He is saying, look, if we need a carry, I will be it. Our play style isn't working. We need someone. He does miss there, though, which lets Metsonoris out. And then he chases down his man. Virtuoso's coming forward. Fakes low. He's been watching, apparently, Jack, it seems.
The only player in history to fake low. It's crazy.
He is the fake low master. There's a miss from K-Dop. It will come up for Alpha. It's tough to talk over this because I'm so much trying to study it of what is happening to Renault Vitality.
What just happened then is a little bit annoying from K-Dop. He had a chance to go for a bump on the goal line as Alpha, I think it was Alpha, could then just go for a shot and just make it threatening and maybe bamboozle the defense a little bit. K-Dop instead just left and just went back to his half. He didn't even bother going for a bump.
A little passive, do you think?
A little bit passive, a little bit scared of like, okay, we don't want to let our 1-goal deficit go now.
This is a good result, lads. Yeah. Let's see if we can hold this out. Well played. When Endpoint need to defend, they have been. Vitality have had 1 or 2 slight sniffs of goal leading to absolutely nothing apart from that one from Fairy Peak in this game. Alpha goes for the solo play, but Relating Wave closes him down. He's been really effective at decision-making and getting bumps as well. Virtuoso was reading that one all the way. Of course he was. K-Dot will slow things down. 25 seconds left, enough time for one more attack Vitality, maybe.
Or a continued offense from Endpoint. The bump out of the way as well. Alpha with a shot on target. Sent wide by Wave. Final 10 seconds. 2 up. Metsonoris can't get a touch on it. This is nervy time now, though. Vert sends it to the side. Maybe not the best idea, but Wave is there, so can continue the push downfield. And a dunk as well. That back boost goes waiting. Metza in the air. Finds Vert. Will that bounce down? And will Endpoint take game number 3? Yes, they will. Cole, we said, as this series started jokingly, hey, duh, Vitality, they might reverse sweep in a best of 7, oh, duh, it might happen. And then they won game 1, game 2, and game 3. Endpoint need to shut this out now, or I am scared. I'm really quite scared.
Poor old Smellsworth is having a strobe party with his background there. When you come back, Smellsworth, show the people. This is how you are when Endpoint are 3-0 up. They need to see what we're seeing right now. This is terrifying. Oh my god. I look away. I'm just not looking at Smellsworth at all. Just like most people.
There he is. There he is.
Turn up the strobes. Hey! This is how he reacts every time.
We need a Cyberpunk warning. Like, look, don't worry.
I was amazed to see Metsonoris when Endpoint had their little celebration screen at the front there, because to me, the two players that stood out for Endpoint were the other two. It was Virtuoso harrying, chasing down Vitality every single instance, and doing it cleverly as well, not overcommitting in that sense and taking himself out of the rotation, which is the worry of Virtuoso, but also Relating Wave. His decision-making was absolutely flawless. He was going for bumps at the right moment. He was tracking back, turning down chances to turn that 2-goal lead into a further one, or the 2 goals that they had into the third one. Without him, they may have overcommitted. With him, they were solid and smart.
And also, whoever wins this, they will be going through into the playoffs. This is the winner's match. They secure playoffs. They'll be meeting Galaxy Racer there. And the first goal going the way of Endpoint. Do they 4-0? And by the way, ceiling pass.
Nice. They're happening more and more, my friend. Do they 4-0? Surely not. I said it earlier when Dignitas were 3-0 up against Galaxy Racer, and I was correct, because surely not didn't happen. It's only history that is saying surely not to me, because what I'm seeing in front of me says obviously Endpoint are going to 4-0 because they are better literally every way. Their defense is better, their attack is better, they're more creative, they're more confident, they've got better players. Looking at Vitality, if you've never seen these players before, would you be saying, wow, they've got such good mechanics? No,
you wouldn't.
Maybe.
Well, no, even then, Fairy Peak just missed it off the back wall. Fairy Peak now looking shaken. Virtuoso, chance to go solo. That ball going much higher than I think he wanted. Gets one. And a second!
Genius!
What is that pass? That is pixel perfect to the fin.
Oh, the first touch wasn't the best, but it took Alpha out of the game. He followed it up. He gambled on the fact that Alpha would be slow. And Metsonoris was following his teammate all the way. They had the faith in each other to turn that into something. Endpoint 2-0 up.
I need to remind viewers right now that Vitality are currently on a 7-win streak versus Endpoint. This will be for the 8th. And the save from Wave keeps Vitality out of scoring.
Oh, Relating Wave. What a series he's had so far. Vitality will continue to attack. This could be the goal that brings them at least almost back in. It gives them a chance. This saved well by Endpoint. Look at Alpha having to reverse on his heels. His first touch was good, but Virtuoso is helping out his teammate. Relating Wave was taking out. Now Metsonoris comes in. Could he get his hat-trick early doors in this one? His shot was more of a pass out wide. And Vitality will come back, but they seem so shaken, Stumpy.
Mate, it's 2 goals in like 90 seconds. That's so rough. And bear in mind also the stat that you said before. Fairy Peak, the only player on Vitality to score, and we're in game 4. And his goals were, it was a hat-trick that he got as well.
And this is
ridiculous.
This is against Endpoint, a team who not only Vitality have the historical upper hand against, and that 7-win streak against them, they're not in good form. they've been really struggling. They've won maybe 2 series across both winter regionals, losing 1 and finishing sort of 1 step up from overall losers.
They ended up beating, in winter so far, they've beaten Train Hard and Rick's GG. That's
Across both.
Across both winter regionals, yeah, 1 and 2, yeah.
In the grid, they're not doing too much better either, losing 1 and finishing and only getting 1 series win in the next, and then off to Singularity. So this is not a team that's coming up against Vitality with pure belief. And yet Vitality have given them that belief because they've been so sluggish.
Yeah. No, this is fantastic play still from Endpoint. Vitality, wake up. What are you doing? Shot, relating wave, bounces wide. And it's the Vitality defense continuing to be pummeled. Endpoint just swallowed up so much attack from Vitality as well. A lot of teams can't. But what were they putting on? K-Dot, though, finally squeezes and gets his first goal of the series.
There it is. 1 hit up high from Fairy Peak. He was involved. Clever finish from K-Dot. Tracked it all the way. Made sure save would not be a save. Smushed it in the back of the net. Now Vitality, can they return to their throne as the former clutch kings of EU and perhaps even the world? These are the moments that they have to show it. Alpha now beating Metsanora to the ball. Fairy Peak is there. Relating wave. Such an important save just to beat Vitality back, if even for a second.
And now look at this formation from Vitality. This is a full attack. This is relentless, animalistic, monstrous Vitality, wanting to try and beat down the doors of Endpoint. In the final 90 seconds, they need to do it, lest they get swept.
Good touch. Good combination there from Vitality. Fairy Peak's going to win this one. Look how many clean hits they're suddenly getting. They have stepped up. They've found some pace, but is it too little, too late? Endpoint continue to send the ball back at every opportunity. Clean, long hits, the order of the day for the team in blue. K-Dot's going to beat Metsanora there and send that one into the corner where Fairy Peak is following it.
And this attack again forms Vitality. Final minute on the right-hand side. A miss from Virtuoso. Leaves the ball for Alpha. Gets over to a relating wave. Bounces lightly in the center, but Metza tracks it very well and keeps the pressure. Stops the pressure. Fakes out one. Wave on the offense. Can't get a goal, but does relieve some of that pressure.
Such smart play there from Relating Wave. Had no boost at all, but didn't need any to make that dribble effective. Ball is going to come back long, though, towards Endpoint. It's 50-50, which goes to the side from Virtuoso. There's going to be an Endpoint finish there. There could have been. Fairy Peak's a little bit boost-starved in the center. Wants to pick up some pads to get himself effective. This is where Alpha is effective onto the ceiling, but what a block there. What a touch, and Relating Wave can clear it long.
And the double! K-Dot, fantastic save, keeps it out. Still only 1 goal separating. Final 10 seconds, Vitality needs something. Virtuoso, though, is going to try to not let that happen. Final 5, Relating Wave on that left-hand wall. It's looking low, it's looking slow, and Endpoint need this ball to drop.
No!
It doesn't, though, and on 0 seconds, it's almost as if history has already been written. It's a buzzer beater. This is Vitality getting us into OT.
Oh, the Clutch Kings returneth. The one-time Relating Wave couldn't make the save, and it's at 0 seconds. And Vitality have put themselves back in this one, but they've still got work to do. Oh my goodness, Stumpy. You could, I would say you couldn't script it, but this is exactly what we said would happen.
It is. I can't believe it. This is where Galaxy Racers reverse sweep happened in the overtime win. Related Wave wanting to finish that though. Fairy Peak not with a great clear. Virtuoso can't finish it off.
Endpoint really need to continue to play this one on the front foot. If they try and defend, Vitality will break through there. But there is a miss by Fairy Peak, who slowed down a bit in this series off the backboard. And a bump from Virtuoso, just frustrating Fairy Peak as much as he can. Everyone's faking everyone now.
Oh my god.
Pandemonium, chaos, reigns supreme on the orange half, but eventually K-Dot can bring it away, at least as far as Metsanora. There's a good 50-50 for them into the corner. There's no one there for Vitality to shoot.
Oh my gosh. Just the pressure switching end to end. Metza sends it high, but Virtuoso tastes his own medicine, gets bumped out of the way. Alpha, as third man, wants to get it past the final defender. So they wouldn't expect that to happen. Full central. K-Dot, though, can send it long. Alpha, Fairy Peak, and K-Dot having a rendezvous middle of the pitch. Little mothers meeting.
Oh, that is so un-Vitality to just bump each other like that. They've got to step up. They've got themselves a chance, but they have to continue to play well. next goal will not come for free. Endpoint are playing way too well for that. Fairy Peak dodges Virtuoso. Now it's a 2v2, which Fairy Peak is going to get the next touch on again. Metsanora standing up tall this time. It's going to the center. Alpha gets a 50-50. It's falling down the waterfall. And then what a clearance from Virtuoso to get that much distance.
Yeah, to get it nice and high. He got a goal earlier from a backflip. This time getting the clear away. K-Dop left wall. Fairy Peak is middle, but no boost. That rolls low. K-Dop's there! And K-Dop does it! Oh, this is looking like a mirror series. As I said earlier, Galaxy Racer started their reverse sweep after a Game 4 overtime win. Endpoint must have that on their minds.
Clutch from K-Dop.
This doesn't
You can
happen.
see underneath his car there, the Prodigy, 3 goals for him, 3 assists for Fairy Peak. Renault Vitality's main weapon hasn't really emerged from its cave in this series yet, and that is Alpha. If he steps up here, now with K-Dop and Fairy Peak finding some form, then Endpoint could be in real trouble.
This doesn't happen. It doesn't. It can't happen. Vitality don't do it. Vitality cannot get another best of 7 reverse. It just doesn't. No, it just won't. Obviously.
Keep talking. Maybe you'll make it true.
Surely. It can't. No, they can't, though. Surely Vitality don't just go on to win the next 3 and get the 12th ever best of 7 reverse sweep in competitive Rocket League.
I really think that they might.
No, they won't, though. They won't.
The way that game happened,
No, but they won't.
it was in 0 seconds.
Yeah, but they
We've
won't,
played
though.
ranked, mate. Just one ranked against players who never played before. We're just having fun. We're having a laugh, right? And a 0-second goal has crushed us. Imagine how it feels after 4 matches against Renault Vitality when you're about to sweep them and suddenly you're only 3-1 up. The fear, the words that their coach Eclipse, who played Mafia with us yesterday and was shot straight away, poor guy, he didn't even get to play.
Legend.
Imagine the words that he's going to have to say to his team right now to G them up, because there must be some trepidation among their roster right now.
You don't have to imagine the words. I actually know exactly what he's saying. Come on now, boys. Make sure you don't let this one drop. We got 3 games already. Make sure you just get 1 more, and then we won't face Indignitas. Oh, crazy. Oh, wait.
I love the idea of the Endpoint boys going, oh, yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, we want to win one of these next 3. Cheers,
I don't
Eclipse.
care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Game 5. A game that we didn't expect to happen, and now Alpha's coming from the ceiling, trying to really get Renault Vitality going. Endpoint got some defending to do early doors, but Metsanora has got a bump on K-Dop. Is he going to be able to win this race? He's not quite. Long gone, Stumpy, in this series of the days where Endpoint were winning every loose ball and beating Vitality to it. They have stepped up the pace, Vitality, so much since then.
Yeah, they look fresh. It's the new lease of life, and as an Endpoint fan, me and you both know this is danger time. Will the mentality slip? Can they continue doing their aggressive plays and shutting down Vitality? Because it takes a lot to do it. It's exhausting doing it.
Yes,
But
it is.
they're going to have to.
And I've seen Virtuoso in an interview on the main stream saying that his play style is particularly exhausting because as well as the ball and his general rotations, he veers off, he improvises, and improv is harder than scripted content. It's not easy to play the game the way Virtuoso plays it, but such a key part of Endpoint's defense. That demo, without it, they may well have conceded. K-Dot, pal! Hit the ball! What's that? Am I being harsh? Did I miss something here?
Hang on. Right, flick.
Just hit the ball!
Oh, it's because he dodged. He dodged and just flung his nose away from it. His big French schnoz goes awry.
Okay.
Endpoint, though, opening up our scoring. They don't want a mirror series, surely.
No, they don't. They don't want to be part of that history. But it is a free goal for Endpoint. Precisely. You couldn't ask for it. Absolutely take that. They will adore the fact. I think that will mean more to Endpoint than a wonder goal or a beautiful passing play. The fact they've been given something for free is just going to be... They are human. They've not suddenly turned on the absolute style. And we can continue to do this.
I'm now just watching and waiting for the crack in Endpoint to grow. And will it grow, or have they just stuffed it full of glue? I just hope it will hold for the rest of this series. Chance for Alpha. Metz, though, from the backboard, saves it away. Something that he's very hot and cold on, his backboard, sideboard defense. And it's something that he has been very, very good with today thus far. Because if he does not defend well off those backboards, it's essentially a GG for Endpoint.
Kade up another misread. Thankfully for him, he had his teammate behind him. It was Alpha, I think, that was the only man there. No one from Endpoint was following that up because they assumed there wouldn't be a chance to. Kade up, it's Alpha, gets another save at the near post. What a finish that could have been. A little backflip there to send it low, skipping across the goal line. But saved again. Endpoint come forward. Relating Wave goes for a flip reset along the floor. And now Endpoint are starting to have a few clean touches. They're winning this midfield battle. Vitality's best defense against it is big booming clears. But Endpoint from the backboard and from the side walls are reading Vitality's touches. The big clears aren't really working for Vitality. They need to be a bit more forward thinking. When they do come forward, though, one touch over the top of them, it's tough to figure this one out for Vitality.
Well, that's not a great touch, though. Thankfully, Relating Wave was able to bring himself back in. Final 90 seconds. Again, Endpoint have the lead, but we know that this game is not over until it literally says Endpoint CeX have won.
Even then, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there'd be some kind of magic. Final 80. How does this fall? Alpha trying to clear this away, but Relating Wave will challenge him on that side wall. Instead, will manage to go low. Vert, good idea, just keeps it close in, because then it forces somebody from Vitality to have to go up for that and burn a bit of boost after they got the boost steal. Relating Wave, shot on net, saved away by Alpha. As the pinch comes in far, a minute remains, and Endpoint, the closer this gets to 0 seconds, the harder it becomes to maintain that composure.
Oh, that's so awkward from Metsonoros over the top of the goal, and Virtuoso can only send it to the middle, and Relating Wave rises again heroically to send it clear, but Vitality are sending the troops forward. Relating Wave needs to read this pre-flip really well. Vitality now is just starting to take shape, up the pace, step up the gears. And these key touches from Metsonoros. Endpoint have done that so effectively. Not going for complete pace on the ball, just knocking it where Vitality don't want it to go.
Final 20 seconds now, Cole. Until it hits 0, Endpoint have not won. K-Dot goes long, tries to find Alpha, intercepted by Metz, though. It's what they were doing, and they were so effective in previous games as well. Will drop low, K-Dot to Alpha from the backboard. Wave has to hit that, does so. Absolutely spanks it long. Metzer comes in to return the favor as well. Now in the Vitality half, this has to go low. It does. Final chance as that ball will try and drop Alpha. Air dribble high, goes over one. Fairy Peak, opportunity from the ceiling. K-Dot can shoot. Finds Alpha instead, who misses. Endpoint CeX. They go the long way round, but they win it in 5.
Endpoint have done it. History does not repeat itself. Endpoint are through the group in first. Vitality are going to have to go to the elimination match. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time, everybody, to dissect that incredible series.
Welcome back to Rocket League Summit 2, fueled by Monster Energy and sponsored by Juked.gg. It's your boy Smellsworth, and I'm here with the Subpar Boys. Gentlemen, I don't know what's going on. Stumpy, we almost had the 12th reverse sweep. What happened?
What happened was that joke, and I don't ever want to skip past that. But that was really terrifying for Endpoint. And I appreciate they won 4-1. It's not something you'd normally say after a 4-1 win, but that was scary for Endpoint because they must have been thinking, oh, we do not let this slip right now. But Vitality, man, where were they? They came semi-alive in game number 4, but apart from that, that was like an OT win. K-Dop got 1 goal. Like, Alpha didn't score. Fairy Peak got 4 goals. I just don't know. They looked asleep.
We've seen series between these two teams where Vitality play like they played in the last 20 seconds or so of both those final games for the entirety of the series, where Endpoint cannot breathe for a second. If they take a second to wipe the sweat from their brow, then they will be responsible for conceding a goal, right? On this occasion, for large swathes of each and every game, even the one that Vitality did win, Endpoint were chilling. They were just controlling the game, mainly through Relating Wave, whose decision-making, as I mentioned, was so impressive.
Was he the player of this series for you?
It's tough. It's between him and Virtuoso. I think Virtuoso was the key for Endpoint at the beginning to give them that belief. But once they had it, Relating Wave was keeping that balance in check so they didn't overcommit, overdo things, and let Vitality have an easy goal. So yes, I will say that.
I think Vert, for me, is my man of the match. I think Wave is 100% a great shout. He was defensively absolutely unstoppable. He was everywhere that he needed to be and rarely got in the way of his teammates. I think for me, Virtuoso, I'm just impressed at how well he chased. He was being a ball chasing machine, and it was very clever, intelligent ball chasing, and it's something that I wish that we could see more of. He barely went for bumps and demos, but because he got in the faces of Alpha and Fairy Peak specifically, they couldn't start all the plays that they need to really rev their engines, and he shut down Vitality every single time.
Well, it looks like he chased his way to a 4-1 victory. We're going to head to break, and we'll be back with some fresh faces and some more Rocket League action.